One of the letters I got, I want to read to you, Sam, because it's from a gentleman who said that he lost his life savings. And the subject line is, Sam Bankman-Fried stole $2 million from me. It says, Andrew, can you please ask SBF why he decided to steal my life savings and the $10 billion more from customers to give to his hedge fund, Alameda?
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about this ridiculous interview that the New York Times gave to Sam Bankman-Fried of FTX. Now, if you don't know who SBF is or FTX is or what's going on, let's back up a little bit before we get to the actual interview. And if you want to see the full hour-plus long interview without my commentary, the link, as always, will be in the description box below. First things first, what's going on here? Well, FTX is or was a crypto exchange platform. So basically, here's how it would work. You would give FTX cash money, and they were supposed to invest it into cryptocurrency. They had their own coin. I forget what it was called, the SBF coin. I don't know what it was, but they had their own main coin they would invest in, and then the other coins, and that's how it would work. And your money should be safe there. You had a bunch of celebrities involved with it. Tom Brady, Gisele Bündchen. A lot of big name people were involved with it. The company at one point was worth $40 billion. Would it be $40 billion? It's now worth $100,000. SBF was worth about $25 billion himself. He now has the $100,000 on the credit card, and that's it. So if you invested into FTX, your money's pretty much gone, and it probably won't come back. Now, the reason why he's not in the penitentiary right now for fraud and theft or whatever it is because he's actually in the Bahamas, not the U.S. Okay. And as a matter of fact, I think his company was incorporated in the Bahamas to prevent U.S. jurisdiction. Funny how that works when that was already like that before the whole alleged fraud happened. Now, let's get into the clips. Of course, again, the full thing will be in the description. And these clips will be in the description as well, just to have like little quick sound bites. But here's the very bizarre introduction where he actually got applause from the crowd.
On behalf of everybody here and on behalf of the public, I want to thank you for engaging in it at a time in truth when I know you've been advised not to. So thank you so very, very much. Thank you.
Like, no, you don't get no applause. You don't get no applause. It's like, look, man, people's whole life savings are just gone. Totally gone. And throughout this interview, they'll try to make it be like, oh, it was a mistake. It was an accident. And I just got caught up in it and we really screwed up. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about how that's just BS. All right. But that's the first clip. And here is a little bit of a longer one. Let's check it out.
Right now, are you in the Bahamas because you think you can't leave?
No, I'm in the Bahamas. I have been in the Bahamas for the last year, and I've been running FTX from the Bahamas. Been running FTX Digital Market, our primary operating entity down here. With Bahamian regulators and others in contact. And right now, I'm looking to be helpful anywhere I can with any of the global entities that that would want my help.
Do you think you could come to the United States or go elsewhere?
No.
I to my knowledge, I could.
To my knowledge, you said that quite a bit. Understand this. Understand who this guy is. His parents are both lawyers. They teach law at Stanford or MIT or something like that. So he knows how to use lawyery language because he knows what he's saying right now could get brought up in court. To my knowledge, oh, I didn't know, not to my knowledge. So you could say plausible deniability. Oh, well, I didn't know that what I was saying was incorrect, or I didn't give a declarative statement. You see that quite a bit throughout these clips.
Have you thought about doing that?
I've thought about it, and I've seen a lot of the obviously a lot of the hearings that have been happening. I would not be surprised if sometime I am up there talking about what happened to our representatives or wherever else is most appropriate.
How concerned are you about criminal liability at this point?
So I don't think that, I mean, obviously I don't personally think that I have, but I think the real answer is that's not, it sounds weird to say, but I think the real answer is that's not what I'm focusing on. There's going to be a time and a place for me to sort of think about myself and my own future. But
I got to pause right here. The way this guy's talking, does he always speak this way? I would not give this guy 1 red cent on my money. People gave him their whole life savings. At a certain point, it's like, well, where's personal responsibility at? I'm not going to just gamble my life savings on this guy. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. Now, I'm not trying to victim blame, but I'm just saying, for future reference, look at who you're giving your money to before you give it to him. You know, the same way I would not give some guy, some dope boy on the street, some money to quote unquote flip. I would not give this nincompoop 1 red cent of my hard-earned US dollars.
I don't think this is it. Like, right now, I mean, look, I've had a bad month.
Oh, you've had a bad month. Okay.
This has not been a fun month for me.
And the crowd laughs. What kind of crowd is this? Like, who are these people in the crowd? What is going on here? Is that funny?
But that's not what matters here. Like, what matters here is the millions of customers. What matters here is all the stakeholders in FTX who got hurt and trying to do everything I can to help them out. And, you know, as long as that's the case, like, I don't think that, you know, what happens with me is the important part of that. And I don't think that's what it makes sense for me to be focused.
Man, talking about having somebody hard to follow. I mean, like, this guy just, I thought Kanye was hard to follow when he speaks, but this guy right here, good grief, man. Can you form a complete sentence without all the extra stuff, all the filler words and everything else? I mean, good night. All right. So here we go. See, okay, here's something else. Here's another clip. The thing that he was doing allegedly was taking money from FTX and putting that to his hedge fund called Alameda. Okay, which is two different entities, which is something you shouldn't be doing. The money for FTX should be going toward customers' portfolio of coins, of digital currency. It shouldn't be going to another entity called Alameda, a hedge fund, which they did not sign up for. You see, that's not, you're commingling funds. And you'll hear the way he speaks about it here. Again, more lawyer language.
I feel pretty embarrassed to have made. I mean, a lot of these are, but I substantially underestimated what the scale of the market crash could look like and what the speed of it could look like and how correlated it would be.
But that just suggests that you were just hoping, perhaps hoping against hope, that this would all work out and that nobody therefore would realize what this commingling was all about?
That's called a Ponzi scheme, basically, or that's like the spirit of a Ponzi scheme. You want to keep getting new money in to pay old money out. And by the way this whole thing unraveled, there was another crypto firm, I forget what it's called, I think it's in China or has a Chinese executive, Chinese CEO. They pulled their position on a bunch of coins that FTX had. And once they did that, it kind of created a run on the quote unquote bank. A lot of the big players in FTX took their money out. So once the big players were gone, the big money could no longer pay the smaller money. So the whole thing fell apart. It was a Ponzi scheme, essentially.
So it's not how I viewed it. And in particular, again, most of the firms had margin positions. Most of the firms had burrows on FTX. The problem here, this was too big. I was surprised by the size of what it was.
But it's not just too big. It's assets that, look, it sounds like there were assets that may have been allowable to be loaned, but then there were assets that weren't allowable to be loaned, no?
So I'm still looking into the details of some pieces of this, but I do think that in addition to what I had seen is sort of a lot of the standard borrows here, that when we scroll back to 2018, or to 2019, I guess, FTX didn't have bank accounts. It didn't have any bank accounts globally. We were trying to get them. it took us a while, took us a few years. And, there are customers who wanted to wire money to FTX. And so I think in the meantime, some of them were wiring money to Alameda Research to get credited on FTX. And I think that was a substantial...
Is that how that works, though? Like, if I was to go to FTX.com or whatever the website was and say, hey, you know what? I want to invest in crypto. Would I just be like, would I bypass that and go to your hedge fund and be like, hey, I'll give money to Alameda, and then Alameda would give money to FTX, and then they'll invest it that way? That don't make no sense at all. How are you going to be able to make sure that that whole exchange happens properly and there's no fraud involved? I call BS on that. Or maybe they did that, but for certain kind of people, which is a workaround, but not an ethical or legal workaround. If it's legal, I can't tell. It doesn't appear to be legal, because if I invest in the hedge fund, I invest in the hedge fund, not FTX crypto exchange. If I invest in the FTX crypto exchange, I invested there, not a hedge fund. So that's not how that should work. Let's keep on going here.
Substantial sum. And I think that the FTX's internal accounting did correctly, effectively try to debit Alameda for those funds.
Well, how about the money you took out for real estate? You took out $300 million of real estate. You got a whole real estate portfolio like BLM, but to a much higher level. So where did the money come from for that? Was it from FTX, Alameda, straight from the customers wiring you money in your personal account? How did that work? Because you took out personal money and put it into your own pocket as well, into your own personal pocket, right? You dress bummy, but you live lavishly. Let's keep on going.
But it didn't happen in the primary account. And so it didn't happen, it created a discrepancy between the display of the account and what was really going on there. And I'm still looking into exactly how that.
Yeah, I call BS.
What are your lawyers telling you right now? Are they suggesting this is a good idea for you to be speaking?
No, they are very much not. I mean, the classic advice, right? Don't say anything, recede into a hole. And it's not who I am. I mean, it's not who I want to be. I think I have a duty to talk to people. I have a duty to explain what happened. And I think I have a duty to do everything I can to try and do what's right. If there is anything I can do to try and help customers out here. And
okay, we got some more clips. Here's one. It's pretty interesting.
Today,
I was as truthful as I'm knowledgeable to be. There's
see, their lawyer language. I'm truthful as I'm knowledgeable to be. Wow, talking about straight from your parents, right? Straight from your parents' handbook, straight from the your parents' classroom. Okay, your lawyer parents.
There's some things I wish I knew more about, but yes, I was.
So let me ask you this: do you agree that over time you also lied?
Do I agree that I lied? I don't know of times when I lied. I think, look, there are certainly times when I was acting as a representative, as a marketer for FTX, and when I was looking for how can I, in a way which is
today.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, a couple more here. I could put the rest of these in the box. Definitely. That's the one I was playing earlier about the whole life savings thing. Let's play this last one right here, and then the rest will be in the description if you want to see it in full. Hour-plus long interview, and also these clips.
There have been pictures taken of something called MSAM, which apparently increases levels of dopamine to the brain. It's actually for Parkinson's. Were you taking that? It's a patch.
So it's funny hearing this. I had my first sip of alcohol after my 21st birthday, and I think I have maybe half a glass of alcohol a year, roughly speaking. There were no wild parties here. When we had parties, we'd play board games, and 20% of people would have 3/4 of a beer each or something like that, and the rest of us would not drink anything.
Now, here's something else. There was allegations that there was a bunch of fornicating going on, a throuple or 10 people in a relationship and that kind of thing. That was the rumor. Also, the person or the girl, his girlfriend or something, some kind of girl that's close to him was over at Alameda in charge of that, and she was on drugs. So when this whole story comes out, when all the information comes out, there's going to be a lot more than we're trying to let on right here. A lot more. I'll leave that right there. Again, all of the clips and the full interview will be in the description. But that's that. And the reason why he's not in the penitentiary right now is because he's in the Bahamas. So there's some issues right there. Is he going to get extradited? Is he going to get charged by the federales? Can they charge him because the company was in the Bahamas, not the U.S.? So you're dealing with some kind of things over there. Like you got to work through all of that to figure out how to get him back to the U.S. And then what are you going to charge him on? Is it going to be fraud? Is it like what's the actual charge and penalty and whatnot going to be? But as I close, I want to say this. Cryptocurrency, I'm not really a fan of the blockchain technology. I think I'm a fan of that and the way that that works. But as far as crypto and just trying to invest into it to make money, it's kind of like gambling, really. You might be able to make money, sure, especially on Bitcoin, Ethereum, some of your bigger coins. But these quote unquote S coins, the bad coins, the random, ridiculous nonsense you see on Twitter occasionally, I would not put one red cent into it. These crypto exchanges, I don't want to invest any cash into that. And I think what's going on right here with SBF and FTX should be an example of why the whole thing with crypto investing might not be a very good idea. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what said you? How do you feel about this interview from Sam Bankman-Fried over on the New York Times with MSNBC correspondent Andrew Ross Sorkin? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This is a cautionary tale about cryptocurrency and about investing, about some of these guys that say they have your best interest at heart, but do they really? Where's money really going? You're giving money to this guy talking about, hey, invest that into crypto, keep my money safe, but then he puts it over into a hedge fund. What part of the game is that? Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.